It's time for the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. Stay tuned as we discuss local and national sports from Southeast Missouri and beyond. The Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle is brought to you by Royal Retros. If you like cool throwback jerseys of defunct sports teams, Royal Retros is the place to buy. If you go to royalretros.com and you order with the code SPORTSDESK, all one word, you can get a little bit off your order. So check out Royal Retros. And now on with the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.
And we are back on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle for another week. I'm Mike Bueller.
I'm Mark Sanders.
Home of the 2-0 LA Rams, this is Kyle Roberts.
Shut up.
Well, the thing is, you're both better than my team. I love the Titans, but I'm going to say it until they prove me otherwise. We're garbage.
Yeah, well, I've got some things to say about the Vikings, but we'll wait until we get to the NFL block.
We will, because we have got a full show today, and we are going to lead off by talking a little bit of high school football. First of all, we're going to recap last week's games. Mark, you were at Kelly for Donovan and Kelly. That ended up being a really nice defensive battle. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, it really was. Donovan had a lot of opportunities to make that game more competitive than what it was, but they just kept stalling out on offense. They had, they only lost that game 14-0. And they had the ball in the red zone once deep in the red zone in the first quarter, and then again in the fourth quarter with a chance to get on the board. But they just kept making mental mistakes. Penalties and turnovers have been the enemy of the Donovan Dons so far this season. So Kelly ran the ball really effectively. But Donovan's defense played well enough to hold them to only 14 points. Kelly couldn't pass the ball at all. I'm not sure if they completed more than 2 passes the entire game. So they definitely were in it right up until the very end, but they're just going to have to figure out how not to make mistakes on offense. And frankly, I thought they should have gone more to the passing game. Alex Jones has a good arm. Jacob Putman is a really good receiver. They've got a couple other guys on that team who can catch the ball, and it seems like that they were just determined to try to run the ball against a Kelly defense that just wasn't letting them get past the line of scrimmage. But when they threw the ball, a lot of times they did it effectively. In fact, most of their explosive plays, what few there were passes from Jones to Putman. So we'll see if Donovan can figure it out this week against Malden, who remains winless and is still trying to figure out basically what they're going to be as a football team.
Also the Poplar Bluff Mules were at Farmington. That game was not pretty. The Mules lost 49-19. It was not even that close. As you mentioned earlier, Charleston did go down to Malden and win 48-14. That was actually a game a bit closer than the final score, and because it was 18-6 late in the third quarter, and Charleston just erupted for 24 straight points and broke the game wide open. And Dexter got a nice win at New Madrid. I believe it was 36-20. Jackson got a huge win at Edwardsville. I believe that was 33-28. Jackson is undefeated. And having won their first 3 games, which were very tough games, Jackson's got a good chance to run the table and possibly have an undefeated regular season and get deep into the postseason with a perfect record. Cape Central got another nice win Friday night against Sykeston. There's been a lot going on, but we are going to hop to this week's games, and we're doing something new, guys. Me and Mark are going to be doing football picks of our high area games. I'm going to give mine. Caruthersville is at Sykeston. I am taking Caruthersville to win that game. Donovan is at Malden. I believe Mark's going to be at that game, and I'm taking the Dons to win that game. East Prairie is at Dexter. I think Dexter is a clear favorite in that one. Hayti is headed to Father Tolton, which is a really good school out of Columbia. I believe Father Tolton should win that game. Herman is going to be down in New Madrid County Central. I'm taking the Eagles of New Madrid County to win that one. Jackson's at Farmington, what's going to be a really nice matchup because Jackson's old coach, Brent Eckley, is now the Farmington coach, and I'm going to pick Jackson to win that one. Kelly is at Kennett. I'm going to maybe go against some conventional wisdom and take Kennett to win that game. Poplar Bluff is at Cape Central. I think the Cape Central Tigers are going to win that game. Portageville is at Scott City / Chaffee. I'm going to take Scott City Chaffee in that game. Last but not least, Charleston crosses the river, and they are headed to Ballard Memorial over in Kentucky. I think Charleston is going to win that game. And, Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, give me those games again from the top. I'm going to give you a little bit more analysis on these. So.
Caruthersville's at Sykeston leading off.
Okay, we'll start with Sykeston. We'll take a look at that matchup. Sykeston currently sitting at 1-2 on the season. Caruthersville's undefeated, 3-0. Caruthersville's defense has been really impressive so far in 3 wins. They've only given up 9.3 points while scoring almost 50. This edge clearly goes to Caruthersville. Who's next?
Let me see here. Doniphan's at Malden. It's the game you're going to be at.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick Doniphan. I mean, Doniphan has shown that they can score. Malden has not scored. I mean, I think the points that they scored on Friday last week were the first points that they scored. Their first 2 games were shutouts. So I'm taking Doniphan on the road over Malden.
East Prairie at Dexter.
Okay, I think I know what this one is going to look like. If you're wondering what the delay is, I'm bringing these matchups on the Missouri State High School Athletic Association website, or MISHA as we call it around here. It's mshsaa.org, and you get all of these matchups coming through. Hold on, we're doing a little
technical stuff.
Yeah, doing a little tech stuff here. We don't have producers. This is a DIY operation. Okay. Well, that can't be right.
No.
No.
That's a JV game.
Yeah. Now, here I am.
Almost there. There we go.
Yeah. Okay, so, this is not going to be pretty. Dexter's undefeated at 3-0. East Prairie has yet to win a game. They're sitting at 0-3. East Prairie scoring an average of 16, while their defense has not been on the field at all. They're giving up 50 points a game. Dexter scores an average of 45. So this is looking like a real mismatch, even though that's going to be on the road. So give me Dexter, absolutely.
Herman is at New Matter County Central, and it's actually I just type Herman, Herma. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Never mind, you got it, man. I was trying to give you a shortcut, and you didn't need it.
Yeah, I use this website all the time. And this is an interesting matchup because for those of you who aren't sure where Herman is, it's really kind of in East Central Missouri. We call it wine country because they do have a lot of wineries here.
Yep.
Central's sitting at 1-2. Herman is at 0-3. Central scoring 23 while giving up 32. Herman scoring 10 while giving up 33. The edge here looks okay for New Madrid, but they're also on the road, and Herman is a long bus trip. So while I'm going to pick New Madrid County to win this game, I don't think that it's going to be a cakewalk by any imagination. I think that's likely to be a very close game.
I could see that happening. It's going to be interesting. Coming up next, we have Jackson at Farmington. Like I said, the matchup of Jackson's old coach with Jackson Indians.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick Jackson. I want to look at the stats, though, for this. You know, Farmington is a 4A. Or excuse me,
they got actually got bumped up to Class 5
Are
now.
they up to 5? They are up to 5. Well, Jackson is still Class 6. Woo, look at this. Okay, both teams are undefeated. Farmington is scoring a stunning 52 points a game, although they've only had 3 games, and they really bolstered their points total against the Mules, unfortunately. Their defense has been tight, giving up 20 points a game. That is comparable to Jackson's defense. Jackson hasn't scored as many points, but let's take a look as to why that might be. Let's see. Their opening game was a 23-20 win over Cardinal Ritter up in St. Louis. Even though that team is 1-2, it's still a St. Louis team.
Yep.
They scored 32 against Louisville Ballard out of Louisville, Kentucky. That was a 32-10 win. And then another tight game against Edwardsville, Illinois, in which they won 33-28. So they are playing big boy schools.
Exactly.
You know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna pick Farmington at home to upset the Jackson Indians.
You heard it here first, folks.
Now, full disclosure, my parents live in Farmington. They're not Farmington natives. They relocated there after my dad retired. But I do have a soft spot for the Knights because I've got family there. But I'm telling you what, playing in Farmington, those kids are going to be jacked up to take on the Indians.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to be must-see TV, as they say.
I don't know. I don't think that it is a rivalry game, Kyle, because usually these two teams don't meet in the regular season.
Hold on just a minute. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and do some more high school picks. You are listening to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.
This is Three Rivers men's basketball coach Robert Kirby, and you are listening to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.
And we are back on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. I'm Mike Bueller, and we were taking care of a little bit of technical issues, but we are back to talking high school football. And next game up is Kelly at Kennett. That's going to be an interesting one, Mark.
Yeah, let's take a look at the matchup. We've got Kelly, who is sitting at 2-1, and again, from seeing them play at home, really tough defense, especially against the run, and a very effective two-headed running game. They've got two running backs. Let me see if my memory will help me out here. Nope, number 11 and number 25 is all we've got there. But Kelly is 2-1. Kennett is sitting at 1-2. Kennett is scoring more points, however, 26.7, but their defense is also giving up 27.7. Boy, this is really tough. This is really tough to say. Although Kelly is 0-1 at home. Kelly's 0-1 at home, and let's see, they are. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so a loss on the road at Charleston, where they gave up most of their points, and then close win at home against Scott City. And then let's take a look at Kennett, a big opening game win against Portageville, and then on the road against Paragould, who's 3-0. So I mean that was a whipping, and then a game at home against St. Genevieve. And why is Kennett playing all these big boy schools?
Kennett actually, despite having a horrible season last year, has had some good games the last few years, and I think St. Genevieve at one time was a district opponent for Kennett.
Yeah, I mean this is a tough schedule for a team that did not win a game last season. So,
but is markedly improved.
Yeah, I mean obviously that is the case. So we're still having technical issues, folks. So if it seems like we're getting lost, it's the tech. I'm just going to go ahead and go with Kennett at home. I think they're going to just outscore Kelly. Kelly's got a good run defense, but I think that Kennett's going to be able to outrun him, and I think Kennett has played tougher competition so far this season as well. So let's go with Kennett and move on to our next game.
Poplar Bluff at Cape Central.
Poplar Bluff is completely outmatched, especially on the road. I hate to I don't mean to denigrate anything against the home team, but they're just not in the same league as Cape this year. I think that's a game that could really get away from them in a really bad way.
We have 2 games left. Portageville is playing at Scott City.
Portageville, okay. At Scott City away. And yeah, Portageville sitting at 1-2, Scott City at 2-1. I'm going with the home team. I think Scott City's going to win that game.
And last but not least, in our area games, Charleston is at Ballard Memorial.
Will we be able to find anything out about?
I believe Ballard Memorial's actually struggling pretty bad this year.
Yeah, are they even a Missouri team?
No,
they're
Kentucky
from
team,
Kentucky.
but let me see if there's any info on them.
Yeah, they're 0-4, with no offense and a very bad defense. Charleston wins that game on the road.
Yep. And Kyle, you got a couple thoughts about your Webb City Cardinals.
Yeah, I was in attendance at last week's game, which was a big home win, and the Webb City Cardinals finally looked like what everybody expects Webb City football to look like. Physically dominant on both sides of the ball with an overpowering run game as they obliterated, I believe it was Lebanon last week, 49-21, and got back in the win column. They're 2-1 on the season and go on the road to play Ozark, who is Class 6 this Friday night. And Ozark is 1-2 and allows 43 points per game so far this season, despite averaging 32. So they play an all-or-nothing style of football where Webb City special teams really tightened up in the last 2 games, and it seems like they're finally getting cohesive on the offensive side of the ball. Big plays in the air last week, and I don't know if you guys knew this, but Webb City High School was featured on Sunday NFL Countdown this week.
No way.
Wow.
Yes. I will have to dig up the clip and find it for you, and if we can get it posted on the Facebook page, so everybody can check that out. Yeah, one of the receivers for Webb City, which Mike, they run a modern version of the veer. So they don't employ a lot of wide receivers on the field, but one young man made a catch that was so filthy, he made the "You Got Mossed" segment on Sunday NFL Countdown.
Nice.
It was really, really cool, and seeing that catch in person, I just thought they weren't doing that last year. Webb they really struggled to throw the ball downfield. But boy, it was an impressive win. Again, they're playing a class up against Ozark this Friday night, kickoff at 7. The big matchup of the week out here is undefeated Carthage, the very disliked rival of Webb City. Carthage Tigers undefeated at 3-0, going on the road to play number 1 ranked Class 6 Nixa in an undefeated matchup. And I wanted to highlight that one simply because, of course, Nixa is the defending state champs. They're number 1 in the state, ranked number 1 in all classes, and they have the number 1 ranked high school player in the United States of America, and offensive tackle Jackson Cantwell. And just to give you an idea, Nixa is only allowing 18 points per game so far, and they have a point differential of 17 per game. Meanwhile, Carthage is obliterating opponents, 49 points per game, and they only allow 14. That's going to be a great matchup. Got good football out here in the 4 states area as well. Joplin's having a good start to their season as well. We got other schools like Neosho, Carl Junction here in the area as well. But Webb City plays at Ozark this Friday, and the marquee matchup is Nixa hosting the Carthage Tigers. So that's the roundup from the Ozarks.
Terrific.
There's some good football out there. And on that note, we are going to switch gears and talk about the National Football League. And I'm going to lead off by getting the garbage out of the way first and talk about my Tennessee Titans. I will say, yes, folks, I am still a fan, but we are not a good football team. This team looks like it is on its way to possibly being, at least, we may be better on the field, but in terms of record, I think we are every bit as bad as we were last year when we won just 3 games. We may do good to win that many this year. I hope I'm wrong, but so far I have not seen enough to make me think that we are. We did have our moments against the Rams. Cam Ward had a really awesome throw for his first touchdown pass. but there, especially from late third quarter on, there were just too many bad moments, and I walked away from that game feeling very frustrated and feeling very pessimistic about how we're going to turn out this season.
Mike, you sound like everybody on Vikings Twitter right now. You have a rookie quarterback. Okay, I mean you have a rookie quarterback, and there's no reason to think that your team was going to do well this year. I mean, the whole point of this year is to develop your rookie quarterback, to help him to get accustomed to NFL speed. And I have to say that in terms of our expectations as Vikings fans, I think we just got way out over our skis. I think we got way too excited about our roster on paper. I think we got way too excited about how our rookie, I know he's not technically a rookie, but first year on the field, quarterback looked in one series of a preseason game and some organized team activities. I mean, I think, in retrospect, after the first 2 weeks, our expectations were just way too high. And I also think that the Minnesota media has been building up these expectations. And, I would rather be in your position, Mike, just have no expectations at all. Say, hey, this team is rebuilding. Our quarterback is learning. The Vikings have this pressure with this really expensive veteran roster to have to win right now this season. And the fact of the matter is, and this was really exposed on Sunday night when the Vikings hosted the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons, it turns out, are a really good football team on both sides of the ball. I mean, they're a really good football team. And the Vikings went into that game with a lot of key injuries. We had key injuries during the game. And everyone's like, well, J.J. McCarthy took 6 sacks. I mean, they have a turnstile at left tackle. I mean, they might as well have a gate, that says this way to the quarterback at left tackle. Ryan Kelly was concussed. Michael Juergens, who only played like 40 snaps last year, second-year player, comes in as the center who's in charge of directing all of the protections. And, Raheem Morris, who is the head coach down in Atlanta, he was the DC in L.A. when O'Connell was there with McVay and they won the Super Bowl. So, he knew everything that O'Connell was probably doing, and he just flooded the zone with stunts and twists and exotic looks. And you could tell, JJ's head was just spinning. Now he's out for at least the next game, probably 2, with a high ankle sprain. I really don't expect to see JJ until after the bye in week 6. I'm expecting to see Carson Wentz start for the next 3 games. And, let's see what O'Connell does with Carson Wentz. It's like he's been on the team for a month. It's like, are you going to have him heaving the ball downfield the way Darnold did and the way that you expected McCarthy to do in the first, and I do believe that O'Connell is a great coach and a real genius when it comes to designing these plays, but he's got to chill out and understand. It's like, you know what? I can't use the whole playbook right now. I have to do what we're capable of doing, which is runs and screens and slants and short outs, and maybe you get a chance to chuck it down the field. Oh, by the way, we're also missing Jordan Addison, who is essentially a second number 1 receiver after Jordan Jefferson. I am not worried about this loss to Atlanta. Okay, was it ugly? Yeah, it was gross. But the fact of the matter is, O'Connell has been coaching this team the first 2 weeks like they're Super Bowl contenders, and they're not yet. Right? They've got too many people hurt. McCarthy has not gotten up to speed. And this is the same thing. When you watch Cam Ward play, you cannot get upset about the way Cam Ward plays, because if you ask anyone who's ever played in the NFL, what is the toughest thing to get used to as a rookie in this league? And they all say the exact same thing: the speed, just how fast the game is. You've got no time to think. You have to just act, and you have to know what you're doing, and that just takes time. We have to be patient with these young quarterbacks. In fact, look around the league. Jaden Daniels is hurt, and he wasn't looking too good the first 2 weeks. Bo Nix has regressed. C.J. Stroud in Houston is in year 3, and he still doesn't look the way he looked in year 1. Even the man who set the bar impossibly high, Patrick Mahomes, looks human now that he doesn't have an amazing roster around him. We just have to be realistic. The NFL is a difficult game for even the best to master. Even the great teams like the Ravens, the Ravens struggled in week 1. Cincinnati, struggled in week 1, barely beat the Browns. It's just the Bills, had to come from behind against the Ravens in week 1. You just never can tell about these things. So, I am, despite everything that I said in our NFL preview, I am drastically lowering my expectations for where the Vikings are going to go. I am frustrated, especially when I see the success of Green Bay and Detroit, and it's like, why can't we get teams like that? And I don't have the answer. I think if anybody had the answer, they would be able, to figure it out. I like the Vikings personnel in the front office and in the coaching staff. I think they're capable, and they're really trying. I mean, they really are. I believe these men and women, because there's women working in the front office and helping support the coaching staff. I think they're trying with everything they know how to build a championship roster. The fact of the matter is, it's really difficult to build a championship roster. Don't believe me? Look at the past 6 years. How many teams have won the Super Bowl? 2. The Eagles and the Chiefs. That's it. No one else has won a Super Bowl. Well, the Rams. Okay, 3 in the past 6 years. That's it.
Buccaneers.
Thank you, sir.
Buccaneers. When did that must have been 6 years ago.
No, it was 2021.
It was COVID. It was COVID Bowl.
Oh, that's right. I didn't pay attention during COVID. That was ridiculous.
But Kyle, you got bragging rights because unlike me and Mark, your team won this past week.
I'm not gonna throw too much on it. Let's be honest. You guys are you're retooling, and that's okay. I accept that. Devontae Adams is officially locked in as a Rams receiver. He has fit in really, really well. What made me the happiest is seeing how much we were able to get production from running backs other than Kyron Williams. Blake Corum scored a touchdown, which made me really happy. That means we now have other options that we can rely on. Defensively, we were very sound. I will say this also for you, Mike, and your Titans. I like the chemistry that Cam Ward has developed with Elick Ayo-Minor, the undrafted receiver out of Stanford. He's a guy to look out for. I think you guys did really well in the draft and in your free agent signings. But back to us, like I said, solid all-around performance. I'm not going to, bloviate or get too high or too low because I don't work for ESPN and I'm not going to spew hot air. All love to ESPN. But are we the best 2-0 team in the NFL? No. And Mr. Sanders, I'm very sorry to say this. You know who the best 2-0 team is. I'm not going to say it out loud,
well,
but
it's the Packers. Yeah, do I dislike the Packers? Yes, of course I do. Am I going to deny reality? No, I am not. Speaking of reality, let's put our money where our mouth is and pick this week's games. We start with the Thursday night matchup, which I'm sure looked really good on paper at the beginning of the year, and now looks like a game that could be over by the end of the first quarter. We have the Miami Dolphins traveling north to take on the Buffalo Bills. Do we really need to discuss the outcome of this game?
No, because the Bills are going to blow them out.
No. Yes, they are. And not only that, the Dolphins are a dead team walking. And I'll say this, if it ain't Brian Daboll, Mike McDaniel will be the first coach fired this year.
I don't think it's going to be Daboll. You watch the Giants. I mean, that was a tough loss against Dallas, but that team is frisky. Yeah, they have showed me something that I did not expect to see. They should have won that game against Dallas. They really should have.
Yeah, completely agree.
The next matchup is, I think, even uglier than Miami at Buffalo. The 2-0 Packers, the league's number one team right now, is going to Cleveland
to play the Cleveland number twos.
To take on the Browns.
Oh, good Lord.
Like I said, the number twos.
The Packers will be taking the Browns to the Super Bowl this weekend.
I think you mean the toilet bowl, Mark.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Mike, I'm so sorry. The Indianapolis Colts
are going. I'm going to save you the trouble. The Indianapolis Colts are going to come into Nashville, and they are going to blow out the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, it's gonna be
This is the reality
ugly.
we live in, because Daniel Jones has gone from Danny Dimes to Indiana Jones. What is going on here?
Well, he went through Kevin O'Connell's quarterback rehab school, and obviously he took the accelerated course. But no, here's the difference. Jonathan Taylor is the difference. They have a running game. It's he fell apart after the Giants gave away Saquon Barkley.
And one thing I do want to talk about real quick with my guys, we're only 2 games into the season, but the seat under Brian Callahan is already starting to get very warm. You guys are talking about Dable and, other coaches who are the candidates to be among
Mike
the first 5.
Mike McDaniel in Miami is going to be the first one ejected.
Don't be so sure. Brian Callahan should be on that list too.
Well, and I think we were texting about this a day or two ago, about that Mike McDaniel would be a great fit to take over in Tennessee if they were to jettison Callahan.
You know what? I looked at his numbers, and I think you bring up a good point. So, you know what? That's something to look at, y'all. But in a game featuring 2 teams playing their backup quarterbacks, your Minnesota Vikings are hosting the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, but they're also the Cincinnati's backup. What's his last name, Kyle? Jake Browning.
Jake Browning.
Yeah, Jake Browning used to play for Minnesota. He was a backup from Minnesota, and the last time he played against us was a couple of years ago, and just lit us up as a backup. I'm picking Cincinnati because I just don't know. I don't know what Carson Wentz is going to look like. I don't know if somebody will finally convince Kevin O'Connell to run the ball. Aaron Jones is hurt. He has no choice but to start Jordan Mason. Are you going to actually hand the ball to Mason, or are you just going to keep him for pass protection the whole time? I mean, this is a game that the Vikings could and should win at home, but until they show me something different than just, run, pass, punt, I'm picking Cincinnati to come in, because Browning can throw to his 2 top receivers. He has shown that. We don't know if Wentz is going to be able to connect with Jefferson and Jalen Naylor and T.J. Hawkinson. And until I see it, I'm not going to believe it.
That's going to be
I'm sorry to. Yeah, Mike, I was going to say real quick, I'm sorry to say, Mark, but, yeah, I got to take the Bengals. And I'll also say this before we move forward, Mikey. The Cincinnati Bengals are one bad injury away from turning Joe Burrow into Andrew Luck, and it makes me sick what has happened to Joe Burrow and Cincy.
Yeah, it's really a shame, that someone with that much talent had to get drafted onto a really garbage franchise, and I'm just thinking to myself, somebody like Burrow goes to Cincinnati, and they just can't do anything. It's like, why can't Minnesota get a quarterback like that? Why can't Minnesota find a quarterback with that kind of generational talent? Because every other place on the field, it's like, we have top flight players, but we just can't get that quarterback. And again, maybe McCarthy will be that, but he's not that right now, so it's just waiting time. And whenever you talk about the Vikings and quarterbacks, we have so much quarterback PTSD, it's not even funny.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that matchup. Speaking of interesting matchups, Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to the house that Bill Belichick built and playing the New England Patriots.
Yeah, boy, this is a coin flip, because Pittsburgh did not look good at home last week against Seattle. The Patriots have not looked good, at all so far this season. I don't know. I guess I'm going to pick. I don't know. I don't know who to. I'm going to pick the Patriots at home just because I don't want to, unless it's really obvious. I don't want to have to pick in favor of Aaron Rodgers, who, by the way, I think you're going to see Aaron Rodgers' performance decline game after game as we go through the season. I don't think he's going to get better. I think he's going to get worse every game.
You could be right. And
remember, guys, remember what I said on Hot Takes? He's not going to finish the season.
Yeah,
it's only going to get worse, and he has no running game to rely on at all.
And the thing that's really surprising about Pittsburgh is how mortal their defense has looked in 2 games. I mean, Sam Darnold pretty much did whatever he wanted with that Pittsburgh defense, and except for a couple of cases, the Steelers' pass rush never got to him, and I think that Drake May is at least as skilled right now in his career as Sam Darnold is. So if the Patriots can give May the same level of protection, I think that he can tear up that Pittsburgh defense.
It's going to be interesting, but a really nice matchup this week. The Los Angeles Rams are playing the Philadelphia Eagles in a rematch of the NFC Championship game. That's going to be a dandy.
Yeah, you're not gonna beat the Eagles at home. Even the Rams are not going to beat the Eagles at home. It's not going to happen.
I agree.
I will say this. I know you guys are going to pick Philly. I will say this. Last year, no team played the Eagles closer in the playoffs than the Rams did. And we didn't have a Devontae Adams then. I think this is a one-possession game, and it comes down late in the fourth quarter. I hope we can hold, and because that Philadelphia physicality is something else that no other team in the league really has on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be an extremely close game, and I think it could be game of the week. I gotta use my brain. I got Ram squad to my mother. To my dear, sweet mother, Virginia Elizabeth Roberts. I hope you don't hear this, but please listen to the show. I'm picking Philly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you look
Logic brain says late win, but I'm picking the Eagles. I'm sorry.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, the Rams look great with Adams and Nacua as their 2 top receivers, but I think the Eagles secondary is the answer for that. Nacua is definitely going to get his catches, but they're going to stop him from getting all those yards after the catch, and it's going to be really hard to hit Adams deep against that Philadelphia secondary.
And in what could be another big mismatch, the New York Crop Dusters Jets are going to Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers.
All right, here's my hot take. NFL MVP, Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
You're not the only one thinking that, too.
Yeah. Baker, just classic Cleveland. Baker might turn out to be a Hall of Famer, and they just didn't have the patience to wait or the ability to develop him into what he's become. I mean, he's a superstar. I'd love to have him running my team. He looks unbeatable right now with that Tampa offense. And the defense is classic Bucs defense. You can't score on them.
That's such typical Cleveland. They finally get a good thing, ruin it. Then it's like watching your ex go get married to someone with way more money.
Oh, that's bad.
That's about
really
the truth.
bad. Our next matchup, the Las Vegas Raiders travel east to take on the really badly injured Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels. I don't know if Daniels has been officially ruled out of that game yet, but if he is, they're going to have the legendary Marcus Mariota at the helm, trying to command Washington's team.
Yeah, he is, Kyle.
Yeah, he's
He's
still
still in the
out there.
league? Wow.
Yeah, I am picking the Raiders to upset the Commanders on the road, only because Jaden Daniels. If I hear before Sunday that Daniels has been cleared to play, I'll probably go in and change my pick. But if Daniels doesn't play, I'm taking Geno and Ashton to win that game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Go ahead, Kyle.
I think this is the game Ashton GT finally flashes all of his otherworldly talent, because he really hasn't been able to get anything going in the first two games. I think he only ran for about 43 yards against the Chargers Monday night. Granted, the Chargers are a tough defense to run against. Washington's run D is not that good. Their front seven can be had. And I think this is the game where it happens. Now, for Washington, they have got to take care of Jaden Daniels, whatever his injury status is going into Sunday, because they do not want to have another RG3 potentially on their hands.
That would be a true tragedy. It really would be.
Oh, and another mismatch. We have the Atlanta Falcons going to Charlotte to take on the Carolina Kittens.
Atlanta's going to win by more than 20 points in this game.
Good possibility.
You know what? And shout out to my boss, the big Chris, the biggest Falcons fan I know, legitimately. He texted me Sunday night. He goes, "I don't remember a time in my life the Falcons had a pass rush that scared anybody."
Yeah. Well,
Holy
take
crap!
it
He's
from
like,
me,
"What
they're
do I
terrifying.
do with this?"
Yeah, they're absolutely terrifying. Carolina is a lost franchise. I mean, they're there with the Jets and the Browns, where it's like they don't have a reason to exist. I mean, at this point, honestly, if the NFL had any brain at all, and I know they can't relocate the Jets, but they should relocate the Panthers. You know, it's like convince Khan to sell the team to an investment group in St. Louis and bring.
Shahid Khan owns the Jaguars.
Oh
not
God, that's
the
right.
Panthers.
I'm sorry. It's well, it was Jerry Richardson, but I don't think he still owns the team anymore.
No, he doesn't. Thank God.
Yeah, but anyway, this new guy is just as bad. By the way, if Shahid Khan wants to sell the Jaguars and move them to St. Louis, that's okay. Also, I don't
Yes,
have any.
definitely.
I don't have any objections to that. Now, I'm not going to say that Jacksonville's a lost franchise, because they have a lot of talent, and in fact, they're going to be hosting the Houston Texans, and the Texans are just a hot mess right now. Jacksonville has shown that they can move the ball, that they can score. So I'm taking the Jags at home to beat the Moo Cows.
It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to have to pick against the Houston Texans. I am a huge C.J. Stroud and DeMeco Ryans fan. I love that their defense is excellent. But I just have one question. Why, in 23 years as a franchise, no matter who their quarterback is, the Houston Texans specialty is getting their QBs killed? David Carr, now C.J. Stroud. I don't get it. It is 2025, and you still can't develop an adequate offensive line in Houston.
Yeah,
and he is your third first-round pick you've had at quarterback, your second top two pick at quarterback. And C.J. Stroud is now turning into early David Carr in terms of protection. If you keep this up, you're going to kill his confidence.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Jags, Duval.
It's going to be interesting, and I was just showing Mark something real quick. We're going to hop along to our next game. The Broncos are playing at the Chargers. That could be a good matchup.
Oh, it's going to be a great matchup. Those are two really evenly matched teams. But Bo Nix is still in the midst of a sophomore slump, and I think that Jim Harbaugh has everything in LA's second team moving in the right direction. So I'm taking the Chargers to put a stranglehold on the AFC West this week.
We're going to hop right along real quick. We're going to go to the Saints and the Seahawks. That's going to be a mismatch, I think.
Well, in Seattle, Seattle's going to win that game, obviously. The Saints are not as terrible across the board as we were afraid that they might be. I think that this is a good sign for the new head coach, Kellen Moore. But, I mean, they just don't have the roster to compete against other teams.
Agreed. Hopping along, we are going to the Cowboys and the Bears, that could be an interesting matchup. I say could.
Yeah. Kyle, who are you taking? It's Dallas at Chicago. Or are you gonna?
You know what?
You gonna do the
It's
unthinkable?
the Bears home. No, I'm not going to do the unthinkable here. And sorry to our friend Scott Borkran, even though he's used to this by now. Dallas, I mean, they showed a whole lot in that game, a lot of resolve against the Giants, and also Brandon Aubrey can kick a field goal from Lake Michigan.
Yeah,
He is a unit.
Yeah, I'm going with Dallas also. All right, our last 3 games of week 3. Arizona travels to San Francisco. I'm taking the Niners. Even if Mac Jones is under center again, I'm taking the Niners defense over the Cardinals, especially playing at home.
Good and well I ain't picking the 49ers.
Seriously, you're gonna take Kyler at Levi Stadium?
Yes, I am. I'm going to take Kyler. Are you bigger than a 5th grader Murray and the Cardinals?
My God, I am going to flame you like a marshmallow over a roaring fire when San Francisco pants the Deadbirds this week.
Which could happen. We have the Sunday night game. The Chiefs are going to the Meadowlands. That's going to be interesting.
Man, it's like part of me is like, okay, there's no way the Chiefs are going to lose this. Then I don't care if they're on the road at New York Sunday. There's no way that the Giants are going to beat the Chiefs, right? But
who knows?
All the money, all the picks are on the Chiefs, and I guess I'm going to click on the Chiefs. But I mean, my confidence level in this is like 5%. I'm like, the Giants aren't really going to beat the Chiefs, are they? But they just might. Here's
the thing here's the one thing: the New York Giants have the best front 4 in NFL in terms of getting to the quarterback, and Lord knows the Chiefs cannot run the football. I could feel how tight your stomach was getting saying that, because there is very little assurance in that pick.
Yeah.
And as you said earlier, the Giants are a feisty little ball club, and if the Giants win, it's because of Cam Scatterboo. You talk about feisty.
I told you so. I told everybody.
Yes.
I told everyone he was the guy. He was the real deal.
That dude is a human Oklahoma drill. And
I heard somebody talking about him.
Tackle.
I heard somebody talking about him and said he has no vision in the field. You just hand him the ball and he runs forward through everybody. He's just a human bowling ball.
Literally that. So, again, with a very tight pit in my stomach, I am picking Kansas City because they do need this win. But if they lose,
if they lose,
the season's over.
The season's over. The season's over. That's why I'm going to pick the Chiefs, because I think Andy Reid is telling her, and it's like, boys, we're going to circle the wagons. Whatever it takes to win this game, we have to do. And I think Patrick Mahomes may just run the ball 45 times. He may just tell everybody, sit down and get out of my way, and just literally take the ball and run every snap for 7 or 8 yards.
And there is no reason Patrick Mahomes should be your leading rusher. Bill Parcells famously made a quote about buying the groceries. Someone get Patrick Mahomes about $500 worth of groceries that he can cook up an offense with.
Yeah,
because that dude is out there playing hero ball, and it's the only way that KC's able to get going.
Yeah,
but I'm taking them barely.
Yeah, you know why we romanticize empires or dynasties? Because they only last for a few years. Nothing lasts forever. So here's 2 teams that would really like to establish, if not a dynasty, at least one Super Bowl win, because they've been so close in the past few years. This is the Monday night game, and
a good
is
one.
A doozy. Detroit travels to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Kyle, who do you have?
That's the Super Bowl I wanted last year.
Yes.
I begged for that Super Bowl. Guys, give me.
Yeah.
I need Lamar versus Dan Campbell. Dang it!
Now, Detroit, just ran the score up on Chicago. Baltimore is not Chicago. I think, the Achilles heel that Jared Goff has is pressure. The Baltimore line is going to put pressure on Goff. They're not going to let Jahmyr Gibbs run down the field on them. They still have the Mack truck as a running back, basically a left tackle who can run the ball. And then Lamar Jackson, who is just the only bright spot on my fantasy team this season. So I'm going with Baltimore.
Indeed. And before we get out, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I said I think Detroit, all of Detroit's weapons do get locked up, but at Baltimore, just with their mentality, I think they outwill Detroit as well. If it's a low-scoring game, don't be surprised. But Baltimore's too much. But dang it, I do love me. I just have to stay my weekly man crush on Dan Campbell. But John Harbaugh wins it this week.
Well, last but not least, we want to give a quick shout out to the Arkansas State Red Wolves, who gave the Iowa State Cyclones I believe a top 15 team, all they wanted this past Saturday in Jonesboro. Kyle, I know you got a couple words to say on that.
For even in defeat, I was very, 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 very proud of our effort, and also the Big 12 officiating committee. This is a family-friendly show, but yeah, we scored on 3 consecutive plays that all got called back for a holding, which would have given us a 2-possession lead over the Cyclones in the fourth quarter, and we lost the momentum. Iowa State locked it up. They wound up winning 24-16. But for a team that only returned 15 players on an 85-man roster from last year's team, which went 8-5. And with 70 incoming transfers, we found out a whole lot about Butch Jones's football team. They showed a lot of resolve. Now, keep in mind with Iowa State, they are slow starters. But, again, they started their season in Ireland. They've been all over the world and are just now getting settled in. And I think they're going to become a freight train to win the Big 12 this year. But with that being said, I believe Arkansas State is going to win the Sun Belt, because we found out a lot about what this football team is made of. And Butch Jones did say that it would take a few games to figure out what we are as a football team. And I saw the most sound defense Arkansas State played all year. Keep in mind, we just given up 52 points the week before against the Razorbacks. And then we tighten up against a much better football team. Iowa State is ranked 14th in the country right now at home on a national stage, because the game was on ESPN2, and played as good a defense as I've seen us play all year. We were a lot tighter than against Southeast Missouri State, who's a good FCS opponent, but still it's FCS. And we have one more game before we go into conference play. I think we are about to run the table and be like the 2011 Red Wolves, who became only the second Sun Belt school to go undefeated in conference play. Look at here.
One last quick word on college football before we close out the show. The 23rd ranked Missouri Tigers play host this Saturday night at 6 to the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah, Carolina dropped out of the top 25 as a result of their loss last week to number 20 Vanderbilt. That's a sentence no one would ever expect. The 20th ranked Vanderbilt, who's that? They're in the top 25 in football. Go Vandy.
Anchor down, baby.
Yeah.
Anchor down, baby.
So,
and their 6th-year quarterback, Diego Pavia.
Yeah, I love what I've seen so far from Bo Perbula, the quarterback at Missouri. And, Carolina always plays us tough. SEC games are always going to be tight. But I think that Missouri's defense, as well as Perbula's growing skills at quarterback, make the difference, and I like Missouri to win this game by a field goal.
It's going to be interesting.
I got Missouri winning too, man. Just want to throw that in there. Also, ESPN, you should have gone to College Game Day in Columbia instead of Miami versus the Gators.
Yeah, they should.
What are we doing here?
Well, maybe they'll come when Alabama comes to visit us in a few weeks.
That'd be nice. And on that note, guys, that's our show this week. We got another good one coming up next week. But I'm Mike Bueller.
I'm Mark Sanders.
And this is Kyle Roberts.
And you have been listening to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.